So we all know Waluigi is a fan-favorite character around these parts, and it's always really concerning to me that he's left out of the main entries in the Mario series, and even the other spin-offs like the RPGs. But why do you think that is? Why do you think they just leave this guy on the sidelines and they only call him up when it's time to play tennis? Well, dear viewer, I actually have a theory about that. You see, there's a fan game out there that puts all Waluigi-related media that Nintendo has ever made to shame. And I think they're actually afraid to try and follow this thing up. Can't blame them too much, of course, because there are some idea people over at Nintendo that think putting new in front of a game's title means it's exciting. But without further stalling, except for the intro and the shilling segment, let's talk about Psycho Waluigi. Hold on guys, before we start, there's something crucial you gotta know. If you're liking this video, you should totally watch it through the entire way, and also like, comment, subscribe, and click the join button because it really helps out the channel. But you know, I wouldn't expect any of you to know that because it's not like anybody ever says that at the beginning of videos or anything. Hello everybody, I'm Garrulous64, and it's not every day that Nintendo ignores a popular character they own, but believe it or not, it does happen. They've got this prime specimen of pure chaos just sitting on the sidelines until they decide to make Mario changes the light switch or whatever other sports games they've got coming down the pipeline. But why? If so many people like this character, why shelf him? Well, you see, Waluigi wasn't actually made by Nintendo. He was actually created by the studio Camelot when they were working on Mario 64 Tennis, Mario Tennis 64, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter, there's a number in there. Basically, I'm pretty sure they just saw Luigi and then they were like, what if it was purple? And from that moment on, Wario had a doubles partner for whatever sports game that he might show up in. But you know, even Wario showed up in some of the mainline Mario games back then, like Mario Land 2, Mario 64 DS, and Dr. Mario 64, that was important. So basically what I'm trying to get at is, I think Waluigi deserves to be able to flex his creative muscles in an adventure of his own, and thankfully, as of 2011, he can do just that. Yeah, I didn't look up the release date for this game until I started writing this, so I'm actually just turning to dust right now, realizing that this is indeed a retro game by video game standards. Psycho Waluigi is not just a very accurate insult, it is also the name of the game we're talking about today. So quick pop quiz, if you were to give Waluigi a special power based on anything about his character, what would it be? Obviously, the correct choice is psychic powers thanks to his gigantic beefy brain. And apparently, that is what the creator of Psycho Waluigi Thunder Dragon thought as well, because this game is all about Waluigi taking a most likely fatal bonk on the head and then gaining psychic powers thanks to this floating eyeball named Psycho Iris. With these psychic powers in tow, Psycho Iris spurs Waluigi on to conquer every single kingdom in Uncontia, and Waluigi's very eager to do this because he is just such a little prankster, this guy. Psycho Waluigi takes a primarily Super Mario World and other SNESy-looking games approach to its visuals, and also takes a lot of inspiration from the Kirby titles in terms of the gameplay. The game is a 2D platformer where you may jump on enemies' heads, but it is a lot more fun to grab them with Psycho Iris and throw them back at other enemies. But that's not the only bit of Kirby in this, because if you pick up special enemies, you can actually use their powers for yourself for a limited time. This usually lets you just attack other enemies, find secrets, stuff like that. Occasionally it's some puzzle stuff, but usually it's just fun to kill, you know? That might be a little too extreme for this video, but you know what? You're not gonna watch it anyway. Unfortunately though, these powers don't really help Waluigi against his greatest threat, which is, ironically, the Babam. Oh, how the turns have tabled. If I had to approximate, I'd say that like 90% of my deaths in my playthrough were probably because of Babams and other explosions that have hitboxes that would put Melee Marth's grab range to shame. This is probably a good place to mention too, this game is not what we've come to know as like Mario difficulty, where things are like pretty leisurely, except when you get to like the very end of the game. This is literally like a mom come pick me up, I'm scared kind of difficulty, because like, stuff just comes flying out of nowhere all the time, unless you know what's coming up, it's like, you're gonna die a couple times. But I will talk about why that's not really such a bad thing in a little bit. And that applies to everything I played except for the second boss, because I literally thought this was a roadblock for me. Like, I was not getting by here. Road does not work ahead. Eventually, I did beat the boss off camera, and you know, that must be what it's like to actually be good at video games, like all those people in the comments that are always saying that they did things in one try because they're god gamers. Those people are really cool. Here comes some praise though. The only reason I was actually able to beat this boss is because of how the checkpoint system works. You see, when you throw some difficulty into a game and then you kill the player 3 times, then you gotta like restart, from like the start of the world or the start of a level like a lot of old games did. It doesn't make me want to get better, it makes me feel like I'm wasting my time. So thankfully in Psycho Waluigi, if you die, you do lose all your money, which affects the end of level rank, but you're able to start back right at the last checkpoint or right at the door that you were just at. So basically this means if I'm having trouble fighting the second boss, I'm able to keep trying and trying and trying and trying until my timer runs out, and I think that's a much fairer punishment, having me lose stuff that I need for the good rank, but letting me learn about the boss's patterns instead of starting from the start of the level and wanting to give up immediately. This kind of reminds me of how the Mega Man collections have been doing it, like you play the ZX or Zero collection and you have a checkpoint right before the boss so you can actually learn how to beat these things. And, you know, I already said this, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But honestly, this is probably why I never saw any gold crowns at the end of these stages. You get ranked either bronze, silver, gold, and I have never seen a gold crown, and I never will, because I am trash. I am utter scrap. Throw me in the garbage or recycling bin. I'll come back to haunt you, that's how it works. Now, there isn't a ton of story to talk about in Psycho Waluigi, but I do like the game's sense of humor when it pops up. For example, on the map screen, you can hover over a level and see what you're about to get into, and this is actually really fun because it's Psycho Iris narrating things for Waluigi. So if we take my favorite level, for example, the Hardware Kingdom, which is literally just a hardware store that has kingdom in the name, Psycho Iris is like, you really don't need to go attack this place, you know, because it's literally just Home Depot except in your dreams. You ever been to a Home Depot in your dreams? It's actually really scary, there's monsters and shit. But Waluigi doesn't really care that it's just a hardware store. Maybe he needs some power tools, maybe he just wants to mess up some people's lives. But anyway, see you later, Mr. CEO. I guess your LARP group in hell is meeting now. Another one of my favorite stages in this game is the one based on soap, which is something that gamers don't interact with very much in some circles. But you know, if it brings up some interesting gimmicks, who cares what the level's based on? Let's go hit that marriage counseling level before we turn the game off. That seemed fun. What really caught my attention with this one is that there's one section of the level where the entire environment is destructible, sort of like those areas in Yoshi's Island where you have like the yellow sponge stuff. I never really knew what that stuff was. Is it rock? Because Yoshi's pretty strong and just carve out rocks with eggshells. But anyway, you can just break through this entire thing with your big, beefy brain blasts, and now I need some soap to get that sentence out of my brain. Alright, so I don't want to spoil too much more of the game, because I'm a big advocate of show, don't tell, so I'm going to show you the link to get the game in the description, and also make myself into a liar by telling you to check it out for yourself, because that, you know what, this bit's stupid. Just play the game. Waluigi fans have been done dirty by Nintendo for too long at this point. We don't need to wait for them to make Waluigi's DMV dimension to enjoy this character to the fullest. Go play Psycho Waluigi! We psychos know what's up! Waluigi strikes me as the kind of character that would run a DMV and just torture people. Like, he would have lines that extend outside into the parking lot so the spaces are obscured, and once you get to the front, they're like, oh, did you bring your ID, your passport, and your birth certificate, and then you don't have your birth certificate, so you gotta go back home and go through the line again. Like, he would love it. It'd be like a tycoon game, like Zoo Tycoon, except it's a DMV. It's just, like, the most amazing thing in the world. But anyway, that's today's video. If you liked it, please make sure you... What do I say at the end? But anyway, if you like this video and you haven't already... But anyway, if you made it to the end of this video, please let me know down in the description, because now you're in the secret club for making it all the way here. Good job. And if you like this video and you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell, follow my Twitter, and join the Discord to keep up with more Waluigi. But maybe there won't be as much Waluigi, but I do a lot of things. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to my current supporters, who are Noah Wizbios, Chaotic Mercenary, Brady Hilkemeyer, Jaden the Hedgehog, Mailman019, Kaido the Samurai, Danny Lee Dauber, Mike TGC, Dax, T-Bone APH, The 7 Superstars, Crystal, Ty Little Tech Guy, PM13, Chaosk, Jeremy, Dork in a Hat, Mega Traffic Cone. And on Patreon, we have Noah Wizbios again, and John the Real Waluigi. Thank you also to everyone who's supporting in the $1 tier. That also helps a lot because, you know, $1 can build up if enough people do it, and it also gets you access to a bunch of members-only videos that I haven't been updating lately, but might in the future, and also a bunch of extra stuff in the Discord, because I want to just update you guys on what's going on and tell you stuff and show you thumbnails and stuff. You get the thumbnail art, you know, it's pretty cool. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.